Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our seventh conversation under the series 21 Marching. I am Sonika Aaron, managing partner of Marchingsheep, an HR consulting firm. So, today we are going to talk about another neurological disorder, dystonia. Dystonia is a movement disorder in which your muscles contract involuntarily, causing repetitive or twisting movements. The condition can cause or affect one part of your body, which is called focal dystonia, two or adjacent parts of body called segmental dystonia, or all parts of your body called general dystonia. The muscle spasms can range from mild to severe. They may be painful and they can interfere with your performance in day to day tasks. There's no cure for dystonia, but medications can improve symptoms. Today we have with us Huafrid Billimoria, who is a motivational speaker, a social worker, and also a professional holistic coach. His journey started with ADHD, severe learning disabilities, and later on followed by dystonia. Unfortunate bullying in his early years led to struggle with clinical anxiety, OCD, and depression. Yet he went on to graduate with distinction from the best schools and colleges. Employment was another hurdle, not being able to walk, crippling anxiety, and that's when he decided to start helping others like him. He's currently working at Montfort Care, where he's the program supervisor leading the social work team. He believes you've got to work on your EQ and IQ to grow. He's also an athlete, the first person with dystonia to swim 10 kilometers and run a full marathon in India to raise awareness so others don't go through what he did. Welcome, Huafrid, and thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us today.
Pleasure. Pleasure.
All right, so for our audience, can you
Mm-hmm.
explain a little more about your condition, about dystonia? Because not many people know what dystonia is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's like, in fact, you did a lovely job of explaining how and what it is. So I won't go in the depths of that. I think so that's more than enough to actually understand my condition. But regardless, to give you an example, I can give you a good example, and that is when you wake up out of bed, yeah, and you got a catch in your back or you got a catch in your neck or something like that. That is your one day, and you have so much difficulty in getting around and going about the day. If you see for someone with this story at age 27, basically, I guess that's more than an explanation actually. Um, but you actually sit and introspect, what it is like, and it's like,
Wafrid, I can't hear you clearly. There is some problem in your um,
eh,
earphones, or
just watching.
now I can't hear you at all. I can't hear you.
Hear me?
Yes,
Hello. Yeah,
yes, I
that
can
was
hear you.
worse. I think so. I think so. This is better.
Yes, much better.
Yeah, is
So
this
can
better
you?
now? Now can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah,
And can you
perfect. Okay.
repeat your answer because we could not hear your answer?
Certainly, certainly, not an issue. It is like, I mean, the only thing which I can do is give an example, and the example would be is like you get up in the morning, okay, and you get a catch, in your back. and you have so much difficulty in functioning throughout the day. But for someone with dystonia, that's 365 days, 24 hours, and that's your normal. So I guess
Okay.
you explained it really well and technically, but if you had to throw in an example to actually sit and introspect how you feel with dystonia, I mean that's just how you feel.
All right. So, if I understand you correctly, these are muscular spasms and they're
Yes.
constant.
So it depends. It depends from each person, each individual, and how debilitating it is for one person. And it's never similar. It's never the same for one person or one patient to another. That's just how it is. But yeah, I mean the common symptoms, if you see, of course, that's usually the same. But how debilitating it is, that depends.
And Huafrid, when does it, I mean, does this manifest in early childhood, or does this come to fore in teenage years? Is there some information around?
It all depends. It's very vague. I mean, the research is there, but it's very vague. It depends again from person to person, case history to history. That's just how it goes. I mean, I can tell you that, yeah, listen, it can happen anytime, and but then I'll be just like throwing facts into the air without any proof to actually back it up. So I think so it depends. It just depends from case to case, and sometimes it's also your luck. You know how debilitating you get it, how bad it is for you. It's just how it is, and
Mhm.
you either accept it and you continue your life or you cry about it. Simple. There are two options, you know.
Right. So, at what age did you get this?
I got it at the age of 15. Like, I mean,
15.
I had it throughout my childhood, but I got diagnosed at the age of six. No, yeah, 16, 15, 16. Yeah.
Yeah. So, your bio says that initial years you had ADHD and other learning disabilities.
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
So, can you speak about that? I mean, how early was it when you got diagnosed with ADHD?
So ADHD usually kids get diagnosed at the age of 5, and that's exactly how it was with me. So that's usually the first standard, and that's when you come to know that okay, listen, your kid is standing out from others and stuff like that. That's usually how it goes for all the kids, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how it happened for me too. And then not necessarily that a kid or a child with ADHD has severe learning disabilities. But yeah, I had them all. It was a family package, and I think I I got the lucky deal, you know, which which Indians love, you know. I mean, you know, take pay, ek free. I guess I got that, you know. But
Uh,
I think parents wouldn't want that for their child. Hopefully not. You never know these days. You can't say.
so, so you mean ADHD and dystonia?
No, ADHD and learning disabilities. Dystonia was like, you know, family pack पे discount मिला मेरे को.
Okay. So, what were the learning disabilities, and when did they kick in?
With ADHD simultaneously. So yeah, I mean that's just how it was. In like 1 2 months, I mean they were like pretty certain that I had learning disabilities too, and then in a year I got like diagnosed, and then yeah, that's just how it went.
Okay. So, you were in a regular school at that time,
Yes.
and you continued with a regular school till class 12th?
So yeah, it was for us in Mumbai. It is junior college and senior college.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, I always continued in a regular school, and regular calls throughout. Always, yes.
Yeah. So, did you have enabling environment and support given your ADHD and learning disabilities? How did you cope with that?
Mhm.
We-
So there wasn't any much. I mean, I would say, see, there were good people everywhere, and I was blessed with actually some good teachers and some teachers who just didn't understand and would keep on calling my parents, and no counselors, and supposedly the best school in South Mumbai. And well, I mean, it didn't seem like the best school to me, but I mean, that's just how it was. And the only concessions which I actually got at that point of time were of extra time for like half an hour, something like that, depending on the duration of my paper, and that's it.
okay.
Yep.
So, uh, and what about friends? Were you able to make friends?
That was very difficult. I would say, 18 long years. I would say it went without making friends and stuff like that. I had no friends. If you say that, were you ostracized by everyone, including therapists and parents and Indian society, which we do not want to address. We want to say that we want to always sugarcoat stuff and just I mean, the other thing also is that when we talk about things as a disability advocate or as anyone, usually people they just like talking, talking, talking. But what are people doing it to back it up with action? You see, so regardless, that is a story for later. For now, it was like I had no friends, and I was being ostracized from every part of society. And how would you say that? How can a therapist ostracize you? How can a doctor ostracize you? But of course they can if they're telling you no, listen, change him to a special school. No, he cannot. He won't be able to do it. It'll make it easier for him. But what if the child doesn't want it easy? What if the child wants it in a normal school? What if the child wants the norms to accept you? Why can't the norms of Indian society adjust and change, say, to accept you? And
Hmm.
apparently that never happened in any part or in any segment, if you see.
Hmm.
From I would say Indian parents, and even you are a parent, and I discussed that with you too, that parents too need to be I mean, need to stop ostracizing children with disabilities, you see, and they've done that. So
Hmm.
yeah, and bullying just added more to it. So it was quite disastrous.
Okay. So, so just help me understand here.
Mm-hmm.
So, dystonia happened when you were 16,
15,
and
16, yes.
yeah, yeah, and ADHD and learning abilities would be hidden disabilities. Yeah, they would not be visible disabilities.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
But the dysgraphia and the dyspraxia, which they thought it was, which it wasn't, it was actually a writer's cramp, which went misdiagnosed for 15 long years. And writer's cramp is a part of dystonia, so yeah, it's quite here
Okay.
and there. Yeah.
All right. All right. So you're saying that there was manifestation of dystonia, which
Yeah,
was
early.
early manifestation, which was not diagnosed, and that was visible.
Yes, perfect.
One, okay, all right. Now I understand. And that was leading to the bullying, the ostracization, or the isolation at school.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. So would you say that more than ADHD and the learning disabilities, it was
Mm.
the visible disability which was leading to the isolation and ostracization?
No, it was all put together.
It was all
It
put
was all
together.
put together. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. And it was just like, would you say that the school or the therapist or the counselors, uh, they were just out of their comfort zone there?
Even the school was very wrong in a lot of parts. Like, I mean, there were bullies who told me to lick their shoes, and if I didn't do or adhere to their sort of commands, I would say. There was a time where the school went out of their way to, in the 10th grade, instead of like having early manifestations of dystonia, which developed chronic, which became chronic at 16, and having severe learning disabilities, ADHD, being on ADHD medications, schooling, with all of that bullying. I made a huge mistake of abusing my school principal, which I shouldn't have, of course. And yes, that was a mistake by a child. But listen, you also, as a school and as a school led by priests and fathers, you need to understand the child. You need to understand where the child is coming from. I mean,
Mm,
I'll just ask you this open-ended question at the age of 25 because I have it in me to ask you this open-ended question. How can you call yourself a God's person when you have made it hell for a child? Simple.
mm,
I mean, I lost my faith right over there. So basically,
mm,
you have led a child to lose his faith in, first
mm,
of all, in Indian society, and the second part in something which is greater than that, which you all propagate for. So I mean, it's just something to actually ask yourself and introspect. And and people are scared to address it how it is and say it as it is. But I'm not, because you know what? I back it up with actions, and no one has done what
mm,
I've done. No one is backing it up how I'm backing it up, and that's what I genuinely believe in. Being
mm,
yourself, wearing your heart on your sleeves, and that's just how it is. So they went on to humiliate me by making my parents apologize in front of the largest assembly in South Mumbai. Now, why did they need to do that? Why did they need to go there? Why did they need to make me write an undertaking, my parents write an undertaking, give me a grey card, indefinitely suspend me, and I had to beg in my 10th grade with severe learning disabilities, being on ADHD medications, um, and then dystonia hitting me to actually just accept me in the school. I mean,
mm,
of course I'll lose faith. Of course I'll question you as a parent, and I'm not scared. I'm not scared anymore. That's one thing which has gone away from me. The fear. Yes, it's manifested in different ways, unfortunately, but it's also like this, that because of what I've gone through, I am what I am today,
mm.
and I am that tough nut, and I can say what I want to say, and no one has the guts to question me at this point of time in a pessimistic way. You see,
Mm.
so I
So
guess
in a
that's
way,
that.
it's made you bolder.
It has to a great extent,
Mm,
and there was this one other instance which I would like to share, which was very this in accordance to peers and so there was this hate group which was formed in my eighth or the ninth grade that banned Huafrid Billimoria from Facebook. Because of
mm,
ADHD, I used to do stupid stuff to be accepted because I had no friends, you see. And I used to act cool, just to be a cool kid and stuff like that. Who wouldn't want that? Even your children to an extent would want that. Yes, things are changing, things are progressing and stuff like that. But that culture, that thing is yet not gone. That is yet there. And I have counselors and therapists come and tell me that, listen, that school is yet like that. So you can imagine. Regardless, they spread this to all the popular South Mumbai schools, especially the women's schools. So I do not get any attention from the opposite gender. And over the years, I mean, it's the same guy who's being validated from all the same platforms. And how did I do that? I did that by following up what I say and propagate for with actions. Simple. So I
mm.
guess, yeah, that's that.
Yeah. So now, how have you channelized that? I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
of course now are doing a lot, in terms
Mm-hmm.
of social work. You're now a coach, and
Mm-hmm.
you're also an athlete.
Yep.
So, help us with that journey. How have you, from that child who was traumatized,
Mm-hmm.
to the person that we see on screen? How did
Mm-hmm.
that transition?
So, I'll be very honest. Sometimes, I mean, we always want the easy way out for our children and stuff like that. But sometimes, I mean, the easy way is not the right way. You get me? And that also depends on the parents. It also depends on the situation. It depends on a lot of things. But personally, for me, however difficult my journey was, yes, it could have been made easy, but it wouldn't have made me the man who I am today if I wasn't thrown into the rough, into the sea to swim on my own, you know. And I mean, I learned how to swim early in my life, and I can say that's why I broke that record or something like that, maybe. But yeah, I mean, in the 11th and 12th, I mean, Dystonia hit very badly. I was bullied again very badly. It was sort of worse than school, but then I was used to it, and there were a group of friends who just took me out to a place just to bully me, and they were actually taking a lot of money from me in accordance to, like playing poker and just like, cheating and making me pay and stuff like that. And I was giving into all of that because I just wanted to be accepted, again, 16, 17 years, all of that with disabilities on my head. And then I have no friends. I just wanted that, that cool tag and the friends tag. But I was just taken over there to actually be bullied. So I was like, why is all of this happening to me? You know, regardless, the college was very good in accordance to giving me concessions and stuff like that. So I was like, wow, that's great. I got, now, regardless of all of this, in my 10th, and in spite of all of that happening with my school and stuff like that, I got distinction over there. In my 12th, I got distinction. That is the time I started using a scribe, you know. And then I went on to crack my joint entrance exam to get into IHM, the catering college, which is one of the best hotel management colleges in India. And I cracked that, and I was like, wow, I mean, I could do that? Wow, I mean, seriously? That's insane. And and from there, that was the time where my confidence actually grew. Yes, there was a lot of doubt, and there was a lot of difficulty. Even in graduating, almost flunked my first semester. But then
Hmm.
I also realized that I was almost flunked my fourth grade, and regardless, I am here. So let's just go ahead and see what happens. And fortunately, I didn't get any KT or something like that, or any backlog, and I graduated again with distinction. And I remember with this one time that I beat my school secretary to get a job, and I was like, wow, you did that, you. Like, what? I mean, this is crazy. Look at your story, from not being able to
Hmm.
put pen to paper to you doing all of this. It's crazy. From not being able to walk at 16 and a half, 17 because of dystonia, to, of course, unfortunately, there were no concessions in the joint entrance exam, so I had to struggle and fill up my own paper. Though they were MCQs, but yet it is filling up, right? It is a time limit, right? There is all of that. So there is a lot of change we require as Indian society. And it is what it is. I'm going to call it what it is. It is Indian society. I mean, you accept it, you sugarcoat it, you want to maybe say that, I'm radical, do whatever you want. And I could care less, because as I said, I always back it up with actions, regardless.
Hmm.
Then I graduated, and when I came out in the open at my job place after the job, because I didn't think it was that visible and stuff like that, and I didn't know it would come in my way that much, and I just came out in the open because I wanted closure, that I don't want to hide anything from my team. And then they made it hell for me to actually stick in. This happened in the next job itself. Then I was like, I'm done with all of this. I'm going to come out in the open, talk about who and what I am, and I'm going to live my life like that. If then anyone wants to accept me and unconditionally accept me, go ahead. Cool. Wow. Amazing. I mean, that's it. Perfect. If you don't, I mean, you're lost. And that's when I started doing what I'm doing. But then I realized that, okay, Huafrid, you're just talking. What are you doing to back it up with actions? What are you doing to actually, how will you be different than all the disability advocates who just sit in one place, cry about their disability? See, I'm not, it's not like I'm saying that, someone who just talks is not validated to actually vent out and stuff like that. I don't mean that. But I also mean to say that, listen, if you want to do stuff in your life with a disability, however, regardless of, I mean, it being chronic or whatever, or however debilitating it is, you need to back it up with actions. That can be anyhow. That can be you in your career, you in anything. I mean, any way. You in
Mm,
athletics, you in fashion, and do it so good that you are as good as able-bodied people in it, or you are better
mm,
than them, or at least if you're as good as them, do not stop till you are better than them. That is my way of inclusion, and that's what helped
mm,
me actually get people to actually listen to me. Because why would someone listen to you? I mean, who are you? Okay, you're sitting in front of a camera with a company, but how tough are you?
mm,
How strong are you? What is backing you up? Why should I
mm,
listen to you? Okay, should
mm,
I listen to you because um you have got your name in a book of records? Should I listen to you because your company is a leading magazine? Should I listen to you? And that's the reason which you need to give people, and that's what I started giving people, and that's why people started listening to me. And I think so from there, I also started a self-help group for people with OCD and anxiety and depression. And that was because of course, being ostracized for so long and stuff like that. And that's when I started, I think so in my graduation, that's when I started doing mixed martial arts, and that really got my anger, and it was really fueling my car, and all of that I mean, it got all of that into control, especially the rage, the frustration, all of that. And later on, I did think of taking it up professionally, but then dystonia was getting worse because of the hits, the punches, all that. So then I had to take a break from it. That's when I pushed myself into endurance sports, and from not being able to run 5 kilometers, completed 14, 15 half marathons, started swimming long distances, completed 10 kilometers, became the first Indian to swim 10 kilometers in the sea. After half,
in the sea.
yeah, in the sea, yeah.
Wow.
So this was off the beach of Juhu, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, and that made me the first Indian to do so. That's another story. That's another crazy story with on its own. Um, then I was like, okay, why not run a full marathon? If you've done this, I ran a full marathon. And if you tell me that I can't do it, I'll be the first. I'll be the first person to actually stand in the line. That's just who and what I stand for. And yeah, I might contemplate it like crazy. Listen, how crazy are you to do it? But then I realized that, listen, your story is crazy. So, I mean, why not be the crazy first person to do all of this? So, I guess that's that. And unconditionally accepting yourself does wonders. And when I started doing that, it led me to do wonders in my life. So I guess that's something for everyone to learn. And I usually say this that, at the age of 25, I had midlife crisis of what a person of 35, 40, 45 has already had, financially, you name it, I've had it. So, I mean,
Mm,
what else is there to live but actually live life, you see? So that's where a lot of perspective came in, and that's where a lot of growth came, and that's where a lot of healing came, and that's where a lot of I do have my lows. I do have my very lows. But then it's all about how you get back and how you get back on the horse. And I guess that's that. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love your statement. I've written it. Unconditionally accepting oneself does wonders.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like how candidly you said that, I have my lows, but it's all about how you bounce back and get on back on the horse. And I think,
Simple.
uh, Profit, that's so true. And that's life, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, before we wrap up,
Mm-hmm.
what would be your message to all the employers out there?
I would. I mean, if I could actually say something, I could say something. I would say something that thank you. You did not hire me because I am where I am because of you. So I mean, I would thank them. I mean, I would just tell them thank you. I wouldn't do it sarcastically or in a negative way, but I would genuinely go just like, listen, thank you, man. Like, just just thank you that you didn't hire me because I'm doing amazing because you didn't hire me. You see, and the
Hmm.
places which hired me, well, I mean, if they are win, you see, and that's what how you take it. You can't take everything in a negative way, and the more you take it in a way that, I mean, in a pessimistic way, the more it's going to bring you down, and that's just how simple life is. And unfortunately, we always complicate it for ourselves. We always do that.
Hmm.
And life is very simple if you live it simple. But if you complicate it, it's so difficult. And that it's something cliche to say, but it's also so true. So I guess
Hmm.
that's just how it is. And I have this example of to all my employers to give. It's a lot to do with athletics and who and what I am and what I stand for. So I remember this 10 kilometer sea swim, and it started off late, almost an hour back, and sorry, an hour late. That's what I meant. And the sun was cracking down on your head, and here there are 10 athletes in my category for the 10K swim, and I am the only kid over there with a disability. And all of the other swimmers are like, they swam 5 kilometers, swimathons, and I've not even done a 5 kilometer sea swim. I've just done a 3.5 kilometer sea swim, and I've swam in the pool for like 6.5, 7.5 kilometers. That's it. And then I just threw myself 10 kilometers in the sea with those conditions and stuff like that. Now there are athletes of, people, there are athletes who have completed a full Ironman, and that is you swim 3.9 kilometers, you bike 180 kilometers, and then you run a full marathon. That's a full Ironman, you see. So there were
Yeah.
people who have completed a full Ironman over there in my startup, and they also dropped out from this race. From at last was 10 to 11 people, there were only 4 people who completed it, and I was one of them. So that says how difficult the sea swim was. And the end of the second 5 kilometers, there, I mean, you couldn't see the shore, you couldn't see the boat, sighting was difficult. There were crazy waves hitting you. It was insane. I got cut on my leg from the 8 kilometer, and with salt water, I was swimming the rest 3 kilometers, and that's how life is. That's what it taught me, that how resilient are you to take all those beatings, to take all that rejection, to take all of that, and yet hustle, and yet go on, and yet actually, when no one is seeing you putting in that hard work, like, are you ready to actually, after this call, get your ass off, go for that run, get up in the morning, go for a 2 hour bike, come in, work on yourself, work on your self-help group, then work on your advocacy, then work on your main job, which is earning you money. And are you ready to do all of that? Are you ready to throw yourself? Are you ready to be the storm, And you do not stop till you're as good as able-bodied people, or you do not stop till you're better than them. And that's just my way of inclusion and how I see it. Yes, you might call it whatever, but well, for me, that's work. So I guess that's that. And yeah, thank you once again to my employers. Like, I want to shout, thank you, employers. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Thank
that's
you
it.
so much. Thank you so much, Huafrid, for your time. And
Thank you.
thank you for sharing so beautifully. I think it has been a very heartfelt conversation. I won't even call it an interview, I'll call it a conversation. Because I think it was free flowing and from the heart, the way you were
Mhm.
talking. And I know when we spoke also, it was a couple of months back, and
Mhm.
our chat together left me so moved. And
Mhm.
again, you've done the same. I hope
Yeah.
there are a lot of people who watch this, and we touch lives, Warfred. We
Indeed.
uh, yeah, and this conversation about bullying, this conversation about isolation, ostracization, not understanding a child, this seems to be a thread which is coming across all the conversations that I'm having. And
Mhm.
I'm just wondering what can be done about this. And so I really don't have an answer. I truly
Mhm.
don't. But uh, let's see, inspiration can strike.
You
That's
know,
all
the
I can.
answer, the answer is behind your actions more than what you are trying to say or what you're trying to put across. And if you think about it, it is as simple as it is. But how ready are we as a society to take action? You see, it's simple. But I mean, people love complicating things, and people love sticking to their old habits, and I think so. That's it. But regardless, anyone watching this with this similar type of conditions or going through the same struggle and stuff like that can anyway, anyhow, reach out to me
Yes,
on any social media platform. I also run a small self-help group for OCD and OCD recovery. So that, and yeah, I guess that's that. Thank
that's
you.
so
Thank
nice.
you so much for having me. That's it.
Lovely. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And for all our viewers, we will be back again next week. Do spread this video generously, share it with other people. Let's reach as many eyesights, as many hearts, as many minds that we can. Um let's try and make a difference. That's all I can say. Thank you so much for
Thank
tuning in.
you.
Bye. Bye,
Thank you.
Hofritz.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Take
much.
care. Have a nice day. See you. Bye.
You
Bye.
too.
Bye.
Bye.